Leicestershire's Trappist brewers are back with a good old blonde. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look at this. It is from Trappist Brewers, Tynt Meadow is what I'm going with. They are based in Leicestershire, which is an adjoining county to mine of Nottinghamshire, and they have brought out a new ale. In fact, there's two new ones, but I haven't got the second one yet. This is one of them, and it is a blonde ale in an English Trappist style. Now, what does an English Trappist style really mean? Well, it isn't really well defined, if we're totally honest. My biggest complaint over the original Tynt Meadow Trappist ale was that, well, it just felt like a British brown ale brewed a little bit stronger. It didn't have that Trappist flair that we've become accustomed to. Of course, when we say Trappist flair, what I really mean is French, Belgian and general European Trappist ales that all follow a fairly similar approach to brewing. It's that kind of candied sugar come bubblegummy thing from the Belgian yeast, and well, it's not distinctly Trappist because of course other breweries in those areas also brew things in that style, but well, I was just hoping for something a little bit that way inclined. This, though, being a blonde, will be really interesting. Have they gone further down that fairly generic, let's be honest, Belgian route? And just for full kind of comedic value, I've gone with the most generic Belgian style Trappist-esque beer glass for this tasting from Left. Yeah, have they gone that way, or will this be more like just a British blonde that happens to be made by Trappist monks? We're going to find out very soon. So the normal Tynt Meadow is available in supermarkets, at least in some parts of the UK. Certainly is around here anyway. This one, though, has been a little bit harder to come by. They made a first batch of it. It sold out pretty quickly, even direct from them, because I did try and get one. Couldn't get one at the time, but I went to a farm shop last week in Leicestershire, down the road from this place, and they happened to have some, so I thought absolutely why not. They only had the blonde. I know they've done another which I think was a more special edition, but it looks very similar to the original. They've just lightened everything up, but yellow cap rather than a black or a brown one on the previous one. It is just a little bit lighter on the labelling as well. English Trappist blonde. It comes in at 5% on the nose. Bit of info on there which we'll hopefully get onto a bit later, but yeah, it looks definitely and distinctly Trappist, so let's see how they've done. Well, it's definitely blonde. That's a good start. That is very light, actually. It might just be the big studio lamp that's setting it off, but yeah, it's definitely on the paler side. In the glass then, it's got a proper yeasty haze to it. Again, quite reminiscent of a Belgian blonde ale. It doesn't have any massive amounts of carbonation. It was alright when it was being poured, but it's all flattened off very, very quickly. You can see a few bubbles around the top of the glass there, but there's not much rising through. It's all settled down pretty quick. The head as well, not as big or bold and fluffy as I was expecting if it was trying to emulate the traditional European Trappist style ales. Of course, I have to, big caveat, that might not be the intention. We're just trying to see. But on a visual point of view, it's kind of similar, kind of not. So, hey, we are none the wiser. The aromas then. It's a touch closer, but not entirely. It's got a real big, rich, sweet, candied, sugary thing, but it doesn't go down that candy shop, bubble gummy, foam banana route like you would expect in a traditional Belgian European version. What you do get though is something a lot more fresh. It's big, it's rich, it's sweet, but it's kind of lemon bonbon sweetness. It's still in the sweet shop, but it's moved on. It's a bit more refined, a bit less in your face. It's, I'll be honest, smelling absolutely lovely. It's really not too complex, but it smells rich. You can smell a bit of the booze in there, but it's not too much. You just know it's going to be a proper straight up beer. Nice lemon twist to it, all coming from the hops, no doubt, and a bit of residual sugar as well, just to let you know that this is more than just a generic pale. So let's get into it, shall we? Cheers. Okay, already I think this is a better beer than their original. It's not that the original was bad in any way, it just maybe wasn't the most well balanced and just felt very old school British, and I wasn't getting anything from the Trappist flair, as I've already said. In this though, like the Aroma, it has got nods, tips of the hat, little bits that are back to that proper Euro Trappist default. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep having to refer back to it. It is what I'm interested in. And it's there, but it's not taking over. And there is still a huge amount of that proper, fresh British ale quality as well. It's a bit of a juxtaposition, this one. It's half and half. They are kind of paying homage to what made Trappist beer so popular, but also keeping it grounded in their roots themselves. And as a result, well, I'm not sure it would always work, but in this case, that is absolutely fantastic. Right then, quick top to bottom taste test so you can understand what I'm waffling on about. So right on the tip of the tongue. Carbonation might have disappeared in the glass, but it's there on the tip of the tongue, prickling away, really prickly actually. There's a tiny bit of hop coming through. It's like a really, really chilled pine, not the big resiny stuff you get in the US IPAs, but just a, you know, a relaxing woodland walk bit of pine. It's just chill. It's not, you know, going over the top. That is really about it. Touch of sweetness maybe, but really not much else to talk about. Over the mid palate. Interestingly, still not a massive amount of flavour. The hop character starts to build, the introduction of the lemon comes in, it becomes a little bit less kind of woody, it becomes a bit more grassy lemon, not quite lemongrass incidentally, they're very distinctly separate flavours in this. And, well, to be honest, otherwise, all that really happens is the bitterness is starting to ramp up, but the back of the tongue and the aftertaste is where this all really comes together. Back of the tongue, lemon intensifies, more sweetness comes in. It tastes a bit like the, you know, like the very sickly, sticky lemon stuff you get in like a lemon cake, a lemon sponge, something like that. Very confectionery lemon, but still using real lemons to make it, if that makes any sense at all. As a result, big pickup on the bitterness again, but it never comes across too bitter. It makes your mouth salivate like wild. I keep having to stop what I'm saying, just swallow some saliva and keep going because it really is making my mouth water. And it's very good to that point, and you can see where it's building to, because on the aftertaste, bit of the malt comes in, adds a bit of more fresh sweetness, I guess. It cuts the big intense bitterness, but doesn't add any more of that cloying sugary sweet note. And as it just flows away, you get this weird, slightly dusted sugar coating thing, along with some residual lemon, which makes it taste like a lemon bonbon, lemon sherbet, that kind of thing. It's very nice, this beer. It's super refreshing, but it's still got a lot of body to it. And all right, it's not the thickest thing in the glass. It's not the most exciting thing in the world, but actually, I think these were £3.50 a bottle from a farm shop, which means they're going to be way cheaper in some other places, because we know those places are a little on the pricey side. And well, that is very, very nice indeed. Right then, I am keen to have a read on the back of this bottle to see what they say about it, to see if my interpretation of it is what they intended, or whether it's just a happy coincidence. So, it says, crafted under the watchful eyes of the monks at Mount St Bernard Trappist Brewery, Leicestershire. Bit of a mouthful. Our ales combine centuries of tradition with modern sustainable techniques. Our not-for-profit brewery produces ale fit for any occasion whilst helping to support our community. Related to our dark ale in composition but not in style, our blonde uses the exact same ingredients but brings a bitter, zesty twist on an original classic. Well, at least the tasting notes are vaguely in the right direction. It goes on to say this blonde ale re-ferments in the bottle, store in a cool, dark, quiet place, chill well before serving gently. I'm not sure that the beer can listen. I'm not sure the audio level in where you store it matters that much. I mean, I imagine if you stored it in a fridge, like, you know, in a rave, then it might affect it because of the vibrations, but I'm not sure. Just, yeah, the general noise will make a great deal of difference. The ingredients are water, barley, malt, sugar, hops and yeast. I can't remember if sugar was listed on their original one or not, but it shows. It's going to be brewer's sugar. It's the same thing that they use in those European, Belgian, traditional style Trappist ales, and it has brought a bit more of that flair along with it. The hops are distinctly British. They are very much what you would expect from a golden ale, but the rest of the composition is starting to just point a little bit towards that Euro style. And actually, as I've already said, as a result, I think it's a very nice drop indeed. So, have you tried this beer, or their original, or the other one, which I can't remember the name of right now? Please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you thought about it, and do I need to compare either of those to this one as a proper head-to-head to see which one wins? But in my mind right now, I am preferring the blonde, which for me to say I'm preferring the lighter, hoppier beer of two is very, very unusual. I do genuinely think this beer has a better composition overall, a better balance of flavour, but it has been a while since I've tried that original, so maybe my opinion on that will have changed as well. But yeah, if you see it, it's definitely worth picking one up, especially at a reasonable price, because it is, as I say, very enjoyable indeed. And that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you will be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.